To buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. On Stockbox today, we're joined by the CEO of Red Rock Resources, Andrew Bell. Hello, Andrew. Good to be talking again.
Very good to be talking, yeah.
So let's look at the RNS that Red Rock released this morning. So it was entitled the IPO of JUNO Minerals, and that's in relation to the investment Red Rock have in Jupiter Mines. So yeah. Jupiter Mines, as I understand, is an iron ore producing company. Red Rock hold a percentage in the company, and a regular dividend is received. And when we've spoken before, Andrew, we've spoken about an IPO. This has been mentioned before, but what does it actually mean now it's happened?
What it means is that Jupiter has some iron ore assets. Because Jupiter is focused on its manganese, and because it required quite a large investment to develop the iron ore assets, Jupiter thought the best way was to split the manganese from the iron ore, because the best opportunities for Jupiter are probably to build out and expand either capacity or by taking over its neighbours or putting different interests together in its assets in South Africa. That's the way forward for it, where you probably get the best return. The development of iron ore can therefore be carried out separately in another company, which will specialize on that. And it's a very good market for it because the iron ore price has come back up to the levels seen at the beginning of the decade as demand for iron ore increases. I think Chinese imports, for example, in 2020 were higher than in 2018. And the prospects for growth in the world's two biggest economies, China, I suppose, and the United States, are pretty good for 2021. And we see infrastructure spending as continuing. So this is a good time to be floating off an iron ore asset. People are now focused on the fact that you need to have high prices in order to bring on new iron ore production. And all the comparators in Australia are doing extraordinarily well. So it should be going into a market that will be very receptive to this sort of thing.
Okay, so how does this affect Red Rock, or does it change anything or benefit Red Rock in any way?
Well, first of all, when this company gets listed, there'll be a distribution from Jupiter, pro rata to its shareholders, of new shares in JUNO. There'll also be a $5 million sort of dowry or investment by Jupiter itself. And then there will be an opportunity for investors to subscribe for new shares. And that's expected to be between $5 and $20 million that will be subscribed. I think this will be quite a popular investment. Therefore, you'll have a completely independent company from Jupiter with its own shareholders, its own board. Red Rock will be a shareholder in it. But Red Rock will also be holding over the largest asset that it has, a 1.3% royalty.
A 1.3% royalty in JUNO?
On the Mount Ida asset of JUNO, yeah.
Okay. So that potentially could mean, a second dividend to Red Rock in the future?
Well, I think let's take a step back and look at the comparators in Australia. If we look at Phoenix, that is the implied valuation of Phoenix's value for JUNO would be $32 million. The implied valuation of Strike Resources would be $17 million. The implied valuation of GWR would be $17 million. That's just on the Mount Mason 5 million tons of hematite. And the prices of those stocks have gone up in the last 6 months. They've all been between 4 and 6 times. Now, if you add the other asset that's owned by Jupiter, the Mount Ida asset, the large hematite resource, over 2 billion tons, that we have the royalty over. If you look at the comparators there, you can look at magnetite mines. The implied valuation for Mount Ida would be 18 million. The implied valuation for MacArthur Minerals would be 86 million. The implied valuation based on legacy would be 125 million. implied valuation based on Hawthorne would be 101 million. And again, each of those has gone up. Well, actually, the lowest has only gone up 2 times since the summer, but the others have all been up, again, similarly, 4 to 6 times. You add together the valuation for comparators for Mount Ida and the comparators for the other hematite acid, and you say, what's the market capitalization of this new company going to be? Well, with the pedigree it has, with the shareholders it's going to have, having come out of Jupiter, we'd expect it to be quite a popular investment. So we think we're going to make money in the stock, and most importantly, that the stock will start off with enough cash and will have a good enough performance that it will be able to raise the money not just to bring the Mount Mason, the hematite, into early production, get cash flow from that, but to move on from the almost completed bankable feasibility study back in 2010-2012 for Mount Ida, and whether on its own or with partners, bring Mount Ida potentially into production. If that happened, then our royalty interest would be providing us with an income stream large in relation to our current market capitalization. But for us, it's not just a matter that we're going to get an investment in what looks like a very good iron ore company at the beginning of an iron ore bull market, or near the beginning of it, but we're also getting a royalty, which is a direct revenue interest in a highly prospective asset, where the chances of it being developed are better than they have been any time in the last decade.
Okay. And do Red Rock have a strategy with regards to the investment in Jupiter?
I think we're going to get to the shares first. One of the chairman and the chief executive of Jupiter have both said that they're going to apply for more shares in the float of JUNO. Okay. And we think that there may be other existing shareholders who will be actually increasing their position. Red Rock has not formulated a view. Our principal interest there, after all, is going to be, we won't have a very large shareholding in monetary terms. It'll be a few $100,000. And as I say, that can go up a great deal if people think that it compares well with other companies out there and that the assets compare well, which I think they probably do. But the big prize is to see that company grow and develop and eventually bring Mount Ida into production, because the discounted, if that comes into production and you apply a discounted present value to our royalty stream there, it'll be huge.
Okay, that's great, Andrew. Thank you very much for that. And just a final thought then, maybe across the Red Rock business as a whole, any highlights or updates you'd like to bring to investors' attention?
Well, I got out of the country in time to avoid any travel restrictions.
Okay.
And I'm now visiting our project in Kenya. We'll be moving on from there to the Congo. It's very important that one doesn't allow too long to pass between visits out here to see people face to face to move the thing along to the next stage. I think there's terrific progress, huge progress in Kenya, massive progress on several fronts, and we'll be able to finalize that and report on it very soon. And once we get to Congo, I think things will move along there very fast too. And at this stage, obviously, because we got the Kenya licenses back quite recently, and because in Congo, we're at the early stages of putting it all together, but we're moving in Kenya quite rapidly into the phase which is actual on-the-ground work and exploration and making very efficient and good exploration. And with one of the assets that we'll be trying to move towards production quite quickly, which again requires another set of skills and either partners or employees who can do that. So active on all fronts. The only place we're not going to obviously be able to go to is Australia. The good thing there with the assets there, though, is there's such an abundance of highly qualified, really good English-speaking geologists who, if we can't get to them, they can't get out of Australia. So the geologists and the mining engineers there are available to focus on the development of our Victoria joint venture gold projects. And again, we expect a lot of progress there, maybe by the end of the month. Things slowed down over Christmas and the New Year, but we're expecting the imminent grant of our first licenses there, which mean we can move ahead quite rapidly with our various plans, which include part or all of that asset getting listed on the TSX. So watch this space, because on almost every front, every direction, there's a lot happening.
Okay, well, Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources, thank you very much for that update.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.